Text analytics allows you to get the sentiment and the gist of text. Content moderation flags up dodgy images or dodgy text or videos, for example. Speaker recognition allows you to identify and verify who is talking. And the last one, which is only announced on Tuesday, is speech services, which allows you to annotate text. That was only announced on Tuesday, so I don't have a working demo for that. But everything else, we're going to jump straight in and actually look at some demos. So there is a website that is available for people to play with. If I can end this. So after the talk, if you wish, feel free to upload and that's not it. Feel free to upload and have a wee play, and all the code is available on GitHub if you so wish. The first one we're going to look at is vision. So I can upload a image, and as long as it meets the kind of very generic format, as long as it's the right format and it's the right size and it's the right it's a large enough photo, it's larger than 50 pixels, it'll analyze the image. The actual execution is fairly simple. It is as simple as calling an API, and it will respond with a JSON result. I have a couple of different implementations. This first implementation, I've added my image to blob storage, and the action of adding it to blob storage has kicked off a number of Azure functions, serverless functions. I think about 8 functions, and they are actually going out and calling the APIs, and hopefully, if the internet works, yeah, there we go. We've actually hit our first API. So it has returned back with a rather crisp and clean thumbnail. It has recognized that there's a person in the image, and it has actually cropped the image, and it's come back with some text description about the image. So if we actually click in, we can see some more information about the image. We can see in the top corner here, we have a basic description, a man sitting in front of a window, which I think is fairly spot on. It's brought back some general tags, person, building, window. It's brought back some questionable tags, woman, I don't know why it's brought back woman, young, which I'm going to agree with, and some other information. Down at the bottom, you can actually see the number of different APIs that has been called. And I've displayed the actual URL that it's called. So this URL is in North Europe. There's a number of different locations available. I'm calling the Vision API, and I'm calling the Analyze function. And basically I'm saying, get me all the information you possibly can. Down here, we can see that yes, it thinks I'm a person, which is positive. And all the same tags that I've showed at the top. And down at the bottom, we can see our textual description, a man sitting in front of a window. It has recognized that I'm 36 years old and that I'm male and where my face is within the photo. And down at the bottom, some other information which is maybe useful for moderation. It has recognized that it is not a dodgy photo, it is not adult content, it is not racy content, which I don't know is positive or negative, but if someone does actually try it later on and upload this dodgy photo, I'm using this information to not show the thumbnail on this page. So that you can have some content moderation. Because it is recognized that it is a face up at the top here, it brings back information about a face. So there's only one face at the minute, but it's brought back the coordinates for the face, and it's brought back quite a lot of information about the face. Where my eyes are, where my nose is, where my mouth is. Quite a lot of information has come back. So this is the actual JSON result that has come back. I haven't changed this at all. And then you're free to do with this as you wish. Down the bottom, there's quite a lot of information. You can see that it's recognized that I'm smiling. 100% smile, I think that's good. And my age here is 29, which is slightly strange. So the first API is the generic, give me all information. This one's like a more specific one for about faces. So I think this is more accurate. I think I'm 29 years old, so I think that's better. And it's brought back some other information. I'm not wearing glasses, I have no mustache, I have no beard. I'm not angry, I'm 100% happy, which is good. And down at the bottom, some other general information. It thinks I'm almost bald, which unfortunately is true, and my hair color is blonde, which normally it doesn't say that. I think if you look at the photo, I'm wearing a hat. If I don't wear a hat, it normally comes back that I'm grey. So it's fairly accurate. So that's the first one. Let's see, if we upload some other information, other tags, let's see. Just to get a general gist of what is happening. So again, it's adding it to blob storage. It's calling a number of different functions, and it tends to come back fairly quickly. I'll see when people are not watching. So you can see what it's doing. There you go. A dog sitting on the floor looking at the camera. It's pretty good usually with subjects and things. It can be a bit so-so, again, with abstract landscape photos and things. It can be a bit hit and miss. The tags tend to be a bit strange. I don't know why it's brought back kitchen, but it can be a bit hit and miss sometimes. If you go back, we can actually upload some text. So I took a picture of a book last night after reading to my son, and it should recognize that it is a picture of a book. So I'll give it a few seconds for those Azure functions to kind of kick in, and hopefully, there we go, a close-up of text on white background. And if we scroll down to the bottom, I'm going to sit down here for a second. If we scroll down to the bottom, we should see, keep it going, there we go. It has recognized that there's text in the image, and it's brought back some information. So if we look at, very quickly, if we look at this text, it says, it's chapter 2, Mr. Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory. Down at the bottom, it's recognized that it is English. I'll zoom in for a second. It is English, it is the right orientation, and hopefully it's brought back the text, and generally where the text is, the coordinates for the text. And you can see it, again, it's a bit hit and miss. Mr. Willy Wonka's factory in the evenings after he had finished. So there's quite a lot of text that's brought back. So again, to be fair, the image isn't perfect. It's a bit of a dodgy, blurry image, but it's done quite a good job of actually analyzing the image and coming back. To really put it to the test, you can also test it with handwriting. And we're going to try it with developer handwriting, probably the worst handwriting. And again, I'm adding it to blob storage. It's kicking off a number of functions, and hopefully it has brought back handwriting. There we go. So this time, it has brought back line by line, hello world, perfect, and the individual words and locations. And the second one, there we go, testing handwriting. So I'm taking that to mean that my handwriting is actually better than printed text. That's what I'm taking it to be. But it is actually quite good at handwriting. As long as you get a decent image, a decent quality image, it is quite accurate. You can see here I'm actually using the text description as my alt tag, maybe for to help visually impaired people. Another tab, I'm skipping past these describe and tag tabs because quite a lot of that information is actually in the Analyse tab. It brings back very similar information. They're just kind of, sometimes they bring back more specific stuff, but generally it is the same. But if we look at the comments tag, this is the first time we're using the text analytics. So again, this one is in North Europe, and we're testing the sentiment and the key phrases. So if I actually type in some content, in the background, I'm just using JSON to call the API, and immediately it comes back with the key phrases, or kind of the gist of what is written, and a sentiment score. Obviously, the higher, the better, and a silly little image. And it tends to be the more you supply, the better it is. Like, we're only writing a couple of comments, it's okay, but if we write what? Oh, it's fun. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. It thinks it's negative. If I take out the word lazy, it thinks it's positive. It can be quite weighted, I suppose, to negative. It's very easy to get negative scores on it. Again, you can use this for moderation. Maybe if someone puts in something dodgy, you can maybe highlight it and maybe set a flag at it as you need. The next one we're going to look at is facial recognition. This is a slightly different way of working. For the vision, it's simply as posting an image and you get a response. This one, you actually have to train a model for it to work. This morning I already did Rory, but we can actually create our own profile. So I'm going to create a new profile for Liam Neeson. And you need to specify a number of images. The more images, the better. So if I upload a number of images. So I'm going to upload the first 5 images. And I'm going to train the profile. So this next bit is going to happen fairly quickly because I haven't uploaded that many images. But I'm going to hit train profile. It's going to come back with a polling URL that I'm going to hit every couple of seconds to make sure it is actually successful. Because there's only a couple of images, it's probably going to happen fairly quickly. Oh, there, pretty much immediately. Oh no, so it's running and then there we go, succeeded. So it's actually trained and now recognizes Liam Neeson. So if I go back, we can actually test to see. We need to select which person we're verifying against. So if I select Liam, and I select one of these images we didn't use to train, it should say, yes, this is Liam. And it's fairly confident, 64% confident. If I say, well, actually, I'm going to use the same image, I'm going to test to see, is it Rory McIlroy? It just says, no, you're not Rory. Whereas if I change it to Rory, it says, yes, you're Rory, and no, you're not Liam. So it's fairly accurate, at least from playing about with it, it's fairly accurate. Actually, the Uber uses this in their mobile app to verify drivers. So it seems to be the drivers can log in using their face, using this API. I kind of skipped by it, but Microsoft themselves say they use this text analytics. Apparently, if you text a negative tweet about Azure, they're sucking in all these tweets and are analyzing it to get the general sentiment. If it's a negative sentiment, it's added to a Microsoft Slack channel. It creates a ticket for you, a support ticket, and I think it's within 5 minutes, somebody from support is supposed to tweet back and say, oh, what's up, what's your problem? So supposedly it's the quickest way to open a support ticket. That's maybe worth noting. I haven't tried it myself, but supposedly it's the quickest and easiest way. Just write a negative tweet. The next one we're going to look at, I'm going a bit fast. The next one we're going to look at is audio identification. So again, we need to train a profile. I'm going to stick on this microphone for a second. I've already trained Liam and Rory, which we can test later on. I can create a new profile, and I can select a locale, either Spanish, English, French, or Chinese. And I select English. And we need to provide at least 30 seconds of audio, and I start recording, before it's actually enrolled. It is possible to use shorter audio clips, but obviously the longer the better. I think it's a maximum of up to 10 minutes. This was actually the hardest bit of implementing the whole APIs. Generally the APIs is simply as posting to a URL and getting a response is very easy. You have to supply a secret key, but that's it. The hardest bit for this was actually getting the audio in the right format. So this needs to be WAV format. It needs to be single channel, and it needs to be the right sample rate. All of which I had to do in JavaScript because it's seemingly difficult to do it in .NET. And all the examples I found were a couple of years old and didn't work. So this was actually the hardest bit, getting the audio in the right format. Hopefully, now that I've stopped recording, that audio is posted up. It should analyze it. In the background, I'm polling it to see have I been enrolled, and there we go. It got 33 seconds of speech time, and I'm now enrolled. It is possible to keep talking. You don't need to send up 30 seconds in one go. It's possible to kind of add on to the profile. So hopefully that will jump up to 37-ish. Come on. I think in the background I'm polling every 10 seconds or so. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it. So now if we go back to the audio identification, and again, if I provide another 30 seconds of speech, it should correctly identify that it's me and it's not Liam or Rory. This can be a bit hit and miss. I think during the week we were practicing this in work, and a colleague was able to get a false positive. He recorded and he was able to come back as me. So it can be a bit hit and miss, but I think the more audio you provide, the better. 24 seconds, let's see if that's long enough. So in this instance, it's posting up the audio, it's returning another URL to poll in the background. It doesn't happen immediately, and it should hopefully come back with Paul. Yeah, man. I think I'm going to start recording again. I think it needs to be at least 30 seconds, so I'm going to try it again. Again, it is a bit hit and miss. I wouldn't really use this to verify who is speaking, but potentially there's potential here to use this for maybe creating a meetings app. Maybe it recognizes who is speaking and creates minutes of a meeting for you, potentially. There is some restrictions for the audio identification. You can only compare the voice against 10 other profiles. So if there are more than 10 profiles, you kind of need to call it multiple times. Hopefully that's enough. And it should come back. Please come back with Paul. Hey, there we go, Paul. And it is highly confident that it is me. Again, I wouldn't really trust this too much. We have got a few false positives just kind of playing about with it in work. If you want to try it at home, certainly Liam Neeson was done with taken speech, and Rory was just a random interview off YouTube. And the last one, my favorite, is the audio verification. Again, we need to train a profile. This one is a lot simpler. This one is in preview, so it is a bit more restricted. We can only do it in English, and this one is only hosted in America. You can't host it in North Europe. And you need to provide at least 3 phrases, 3 recordings of the same phrase. And you can see here, hopefully, these are the pre-approved phrases. You have to use one of these. So I'm going to use My Voice Is My Passport, Verify Me, from that movie, I can't remember. My voice is my passport, verify me. So the audio should be posted up, and if it's successful here, you can see, there you go, it has recognized the phrase, and I need at least 2 more to finish enrolling. My voice is my passport, verify me. Ooh. My voice is my passport, verify me. There we go. Strangely, once you have picked a phrase, you have to stick with that phrase. I thought maybe you could enroll multiple phrases, but no, it doesn't like that. Houston, we have had a problem. So if I try a different phrase, it'll just come back, no, invalid phrase. So you can only pick one phrase. My voice is my passport, verify me. And hopefully if that's successful, yeah, I'm now enrolled. It needs at least 3 enrollments, but you can have more if you so wish. And now if I go back and I select, there's only one profile there, but if I select Paul and try it again, my voice is my passport, verify me. And there you go, it is successful. So this is available if you do so wish to kind of go and play and create your own profile, see if you can break it. For each API, in the top corner here, you can see I'm providing the actual API text that I'm calling, and it gives all the kind of general information. And it is literally just calling a URL. Sometimes you need to provide some parameters, but generally not. Calling a URL and where's my image? Whoop. I'm providing a key, your secret key. To provide your secret key, which is in the Azure portal. All of these APIs are available in Azure portal for free. You can try them for free. There's no credit required. It is rate limited. I think you can have up to 5,000 requests a month. I think you can have a couple of requests per minute, but it's enough to kind of go and to play with. If you do want to pay, it is about $1 or £1 for 1,000 requests. But it is free to go and play with if you so wish. There's a pint of Guinness. A cup of coffee. Interesting. Yes. I wonder did they get the text Guinness? OCR Guinness. Oh, look at this. Thank you, who that was. Yeah. So let's see. This morning we were. If I can switch back to. Whoop. This morning we were looking at. Where is my slide? Some of the APIs. We're looking at computer vision, face, text analytics, some of the moderation, and the speaker recognition. The speech services were only announced on Tuesday, so I haven't had a chance to actually play with it, but give me another couple of days, I'll hopefully get another demo up of it to play with. Hopefully that has sparked maybe a couple of ideas in the back of your head. I know there's a couple of ideas in my head. I want to try and use maybe the facial recognition to see if I can hook it into my computer or my security camera at home to recognize who is at home and who is not, and maybe trigger alerts depending on who they are. And the computer vision I kind of want to play with, kind of generate, just maybe identify people in images and things. It is possible to actually create your own models for computer vision, so maybe you can train it to recognize your bottle of water, for example, or whatever you wish. And that's it. Are there any questions?
For the free service, do you have full access to the APIs, or is it kind of limited?
You have full access. It is just rate limited. So I think it's 5,000 requests a month and a couple of requests a minute. Once you start paying, you can hit it as hard as you want, because obviously you're paying.
It's just the requests that are limited, is it?
Yeah. But the actual functionality is not limited. You get all the same. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah.
So some of those, I think you've shown that you can train your own models based on your own inputs.
Yes.
Is that true across the board, or are some where you're on their sort of default model?
Some of them are default models, so the Analyse is just kind of the default model, but other ones you can train. You can train images, you can train obviously the text and the audio and things. So it depends on what you're calling.
Do you know if the speech one does?
I'm assuming speech is going to be very similar to recognition.
Uh-huh.
I haven't actually looked at it yet, but I assume it's going to be, you're going to have to train it. But give me a few days and I'll try it and see. Yeah. Any other questions? All good?
Does the bot service not fall under Azure Cognitive Services? Do you have any experience with that?
The bot service?
The chatbot service?
I think it does. I'm not entirely sure why, but I think it does. I haven't actually looked at it in depth, but I know in the Azure menu it does fall into the same menu. I think the menu is actually Cognitive Services and AI, but I haven't actually played with it yet. Yeah. So all of this is actually available. So there's the website. You certainly go and upload images. All the code is available on GitHub, and there's some basic contact information. That's it. Thank you, and have a good day.